What's up, guys? DK here with Collector's Impact, and it is time for another MetaZoo lore video. In today's video, we're going to go ahead and discuss the Rudy Investment Sasquatch, very popular character from MetaZoo indeed, as well as the Squonk, other popular character that everybody loves. This is a running series regarding the lore of the MetaZoo cryptid monsters. If you're interested in seeing any of the other videos in the series, link will be in the description for that playlist. You can browse it and see the ones you're interested in. Alright, well, let's jump into Rudy the Investment Sasquatch. It all started back in the 1990s in the Sunshine State of Florida. Back then, there was a little Sasquatch named Rudy. He wasn't yet the Investment Sasquatch, and he wasn't yet hairy and creepy, but he certainly did enjoy collecting and playing with magic cards and other collectible cards at that time, much like most of us, I'm sure. In his youthful days, he developed quite a passion for the hobby, quite an interest in the cards, and such is the case with many people, that sticks with you for quite a long time, sometimes your whole life. Well, as the young Floridian Sasquatch began to grow a little bit older, it is alleged that he started to get into things such as working on cars. It's rumored that he was quite interested in being a character kind of like Vin Diesel from The Fast and the Furious. That was very much one of his original goals back in the day. He also spent quite a few of his young adult years in the service industry as a waiter and bartender, and got to know the ins and outs of that industry pretty well. As our young Investment Sasquatch was working in the service industry and working on cars as a mechanic and things of this nature, he never quite did lose his passion for trading cards. He would use his relatively modest income to make purchases on eBay and other websites at that time for things such as graded magic cards, PSA 10 alpha cards, and things like that, which in the early 2000s were not really worth that much money, believe it or not. This Investment Sasquatch always had a keen ability to sense and pounce on investment opportunities of a unique nature, we'll say. So it was at this point where he was working in these modest wage industries that he began to get a little bit antsy and want to try to do something more in his life. So with his natural talent for investment, albeit of an odd nature, he pursued a career path in actual financial investment. So he went to college for finance, and he actually worked his way up into the ivory tower in Wall Street. And he allegedly worked in Wall Street for quite a few years. He was even there to experience the 2008 financial crisis that happened, as I'm sure many of you remember. Well, while he was there, he certainly polished his skills in regards to investment, best practices, and strategies that the rich and elites within the country utilize in order to gain wealth. He had quite a lot of good exposure to such ideas, and he learned a lot, and allegedly, he used his newfound skills to amass quite a decent amount of wealth. So from the outside looking in, it certainly looked like our Investment Sasquatch hero had made it. But had he? Sitting there in his ivory tower, it's alleged that he still just did not feel right. He was also exposed to and experiencing a lot of unique stresses that come from that level of success in life. And it's alleged that a lot of that just didn't sit very well with our Investment Sasquatch hero. So it is at this point that he did what any creepy, hairy Investment Sasquatch would do, and he retreated to his basement. So with a gleam in his eye and money now in his pocket, he was determined to create a cardboard empire unlike anything the world had ever seen. For many years, our Investment Sasquatch hero silently stewed in his basement, buying up undervalued magic cards for pennies on the dollar. For years, he scoured the internet, purging it of all of the overlooked and neglected hidden gems out there in the public. With a massive collection and an ever-growing momentum to keep adding to this collection, in 2016, our Rudy Investment Sasquatch emerged from his basement and took the world by storm. He created a YouTube channel known as Alpha Investments, and it is on this channel that he introduced a lot of the world to the concept of investing in collectible cards and card games. For years, he would talk into the camera and make wild accusations about future predictions in terms of where the prices of certain items will be and why, and a lot of his predictions were met with scorn and ridicule from the hordes of Timmies out there. But he persevered, he kept on going, and at this point in history, our investment Sasquatch has a YouTube channel with hundreds and hundreds of videos and over 320,000 subscribers. His story is a story very much like that of a great American hero who rises from modest means to become a master of his own destiny, the likes of which many of us wish we could achieve, but very few actually do. There can be no doubt that it is a very inspiring and amazing story, and Rudy the Investment Sasquatch will go down in American history as one of the most interesting cryptids to ever roam this earth, specifically in relation to card games and the history of trading card games and investing. Our investment Sasquatch friend may be hairy, he may be creepy, and he may have a safe full of gold in the corner of his basement, but let it also be known that he absolutely has a heart of gold as well. Some things to look out for, though, if you're planning to have an encounter with the Rudy Investment Sasquatch. It is alleged that he has a box where he will put all of the Timmy's hopes and dreams in there. So if you think that you've somehow hit it big, be warned before going to the Rudy Investment Sasquatch, for he may take your supposed fortune and completely shatter your dreams. Also, this is very important, guys. On a full moon, if this Sasquatch is said to be around, under no circumstances should you let your stepsister or stepmother anywhere near the washer or dryer. It is said that the rate of them getting stuck goes up to 69% when the investment Sasquatch has been reported in the area. If you are worried about such things, it's alleged that all that you need to do is buy a grande taco meal from Taco Bell and place it at your doorstep. Most importantly, though, this Sasquatch is very well known for making outrageous statements that actually tend to come true. So, in the words of the Rudy Investment Sasquatch himself, we will end the story with this piece of genuine advice.
I just want you all to know it's not too late. It's not over. And there's still opportunity. Seriously, don't think you missed out.
Our next and final cryptid of this video is going to be the story of Squonk, the extremely homely, crying, morbid cryptid. So the story of Squonk originates from the 19th century in Pennsylvania from the Hemlock Forest region. It was in the 19th century that the timber industry was taking a major foothold in the state of Pennsylvania, and as a result, it was almost wiping out all of the hemlock trees in the forest. One of the more famous entries regarding the Squonk comes from the author William T. Cox, who wrote a book titled Fearsome Creatures of the Lumberwoods with a Few Desert and Mountain Beasts in the year 1910. In this book, he wrote an excerpt on the Squonk. I will go ahead and read that to you now. He said, and I quote, "The Squonk is probably the homeliest animal in the world, and it knows it. The distribution was once fairly wide, the usual habitat being high plains where desert vegetation was abundant. History shows beyond dispute that as these areas gradually changed to swampy, lake-dotted country, the Squonk was forced to take to the water. Of distinctly low mentality, it traveled constantly around the unaccustomed marshes in search of fodder. With time, it developed webbing between its toes, but only on the submerged left feet. Hence, on entering the water, it could swim only in circles and never go back to shore. Fossil bones dredged from these lake bottoms reveal that thousands perished of starvation in this manner. Today, the Squonk is met with solidly in hemlock forests of Pennsylvania. It is a most retiring, bashful, crepuscular animal, garbed in loose, warty, singularly ill-fitting skin. The Squonk is always unhappy, even morbid. He is given to a constant weeping over his really upsetting appearance, and can sometimes be tracked by its tear-stained trail. Moonlit nights are best for squonk hunts, for then the animal prefers to lie quiet in its hemlock home, fearing, should it venture forth, that it may catch a glimpse of itself in some moonlit pool. Sometimes you can hear one weeping softly to himself. The sound is a low note of pleading, somewhat resembling the call of the cross-feathered snee. Another report by a man named J.P. Wentling claims that the Squonk has the ability to dissolve themselves with their own tears. And how he came to this conclusion is, he allegedly captured a squonk by Mont Alto by luring it into a sack. And when he was carrying the sack home, the sack began to lighten in weight. When he put it on the ground and opened it up to look inside, there was nothing but tears and bubbles. It is important to note that William T. Cox's book of Fearsome Creatures of the Lumber Woods is currently categorized as a fictionary field guide. So therefore, the stories of the Squonk are quite questionable at best. It is also alleged that the stories of the Squonk were created as an allegory to vent the frustrations of what was happening to the hemlock forests in Pennsylvania. Again, in the 19th century, they were essentially being decimated, and there were many residents in the state of Pennsylvania that thought that the overforesting was going to eventually cause the extinction of the hemlock trees and maybe even the forests themselves. It's thought that the Squonk is to represent the ugly nature of these endeavors and the extremely morbid and sad feelings that come with watching the beauty of nature be destroyed. However, there are still some dedicated Squonk believers out there, so I guess we'll just have to see. If you are ever in the woods of Pennsylvania and you happen to come across one, definitely take a picture of it. I'm sure that it's one for the record books. Well, that wraps up the video for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed these 2 cryptid monster stories from the MetaZoo Cryptid Nation expansion. If you did, please be sure to give the video a nice thumbs up, as I would greatly appreciate that. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, both lore videos and other discussion videos and things on MetaZoo the trading card game, as well as other card games and grading and all of the things like that related to collectibles and cards, definitely subscribe to the channel. And again, this is part of a running series, so if you'd like to see some other episodes, link will be in the description for the playlist of the lore episodes. Thanks again for coming by, guys. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you back next time. Take care.